exclusive interview by Bharat CXO. Today we have the dynamic leader, Niveditha Praveen, who has 16 years of experience in this field, who is the CTO Director and of InBetween Digital Publishing, who has overseeing the product development and oversees the company's operation, ensuring the quality. Great good evening to you, ma'am. Firstly, how you have been like? Can you just tell about yourself and your organization?
Sure, Anita. Thanks for having me on the show. It's a real pleasure to be on this podcast. And yeah, about my profile, I've been working for more than 16 years now in this industry, mostly in the backend tech. And I had started my career with BFSI and retail domain. And then for many years, I have now been in the digital publishing domain, where I have been working with this company InBetween since 2013, where we had started this company in Goa, and since then, and I've been handling the backend software development team ever since. And then I gradually grew to this profile of CTO, and then now I'm still overseeing the operations cross-platform. Yeah.
I feel you have a good amount of power on opinion. So can you just tell about your opinion on AI?
Sure. Well, AI is indeed quite an interesting subject and definitely much more progressive. And even though it boomed in the market with OpenAI just 3 years back with all these generative capabilities that suddenly opened doors for so many use cases. But its history, indeed, if you see, is quite long. I mean, back in 2009, I remember when I was in Infosys, one of my colleagues chose to leave the company to pursue his master's in neural networks at that time. And that subject was quite new, and I researched about it at the time and realized, yes, it's a quite fascinating domain and it would be worth pursuing this for the future. But now I can see all its effects. There are a lot of positive sides of AI, definitely. It's kind of a very powerful set of technologies, I would say, that's already changing the way industries are operating. Though not, I mean, I had gone through some surveys and analysts speaking about it, and we realized that around 15% of the companies in the industries have actually went deeper into these AI aspects. Rest of them, 35% around, are just still in the analysis phase of how to integrate this, what kind of value addition would it offer in the industry. But yes, what impresses me the most is how quickly it's really evolving from very specialized niche applications to get started with to now being much more generic, right, in the integration. So yes, it has good potential and capabilities, but I still believe it is hyped a lot for marketing reasons. But I believe if it adds value to the end users, if it adds value, then and it can convert into business direct or indirect revenue addition, then it's worth considering introducing them in your product, keeping its own investment needs in mind for balancing, right? Yeah.
Yes, with AI. So how have you ever implemented AI in your organization?
Yeah, on a personal level, I have experimented with several AI assisted tools to streamline my own workflow and everyday activities. But from a business perspective, we are still in the space of automation of these corporate materials. Like our business is into that, like automation of these into marketing materials, technical data sheets, or any industry leaflets, labels, or even, let's say, any industry needs for brewing up a full-fledged catalog in multiple languages for different markets. This is exactly our core business. Now we are in the space where the companies don't have the brink of building everything manually or paying media agencies hefty amounts to achieve the same, right? So from a corporate need standpoint, for our market needs, I'm currently evaluating how we can automate AI backed accessible PDF creations for companies' corporate materials. There are different areas where we are also parallelly working upon to check what we can do. But for example, imagine a retail brand's product leaflet, and it is downloaded by thousands of people, and let's say a blind user needs to now navigate it independently, right? So for these we have something called as accessible PDFs, which we are trying to now automate using AI, so that it is more of a compliance requirement also for many industries. So we are trying to integrate it based on the market needs and not really based on something just we have to offer, right? So our primary focus is on capabilities that directly addresses customer pain points at the moment, and we are approaching it with much more disciplinary steps to balance cost versus ROI of catering to these needs. So yes, definitely we are in the collecting phase where we are getting some questionnaires from our customers on where we can implement these. It's very custom. So we are segregating between the custom needs and generic needs, what we can put in the product itself for generically for all customers.
You
That's
said
where we are at.
of AI will play in your industry in the next few years?
Yeah, it's a good question. So right now, when we speak to our customers and we gather these kind of questions, like where do they look for AI in this space? What needs do they have, right? So it always starts from the market when we analyze. So in our industry, in digital database publishing, particularly for these automated catalogs and data sheets productions, AI is going to change the capabilities in some areas. The expectations, at least, is like that. For example, many PIM companies have already started using AI to transform the basic product information into some rich, compelling, automated descriptions at scale, right? Which dramatically now reduced their manual effort that was required earlier for creating content. So, for example, there are 20,000 products in PIM, and people want to simply add each and every description for each and every product along with. So, if it's smart enough to look at the product image, come up with its own descriptions, which is compelling enough, which is SEO friendly, then I think the companies are already leveraging those kind of things. So that is primarily one of the place where AI will play. And then there are also some intelligent image processing where it could be revolutionizing these things. For example, how we handle the product imagery, some automating background removals, enhancements, and even say, for example, generating some lifestyle imagery based on some basic product shots, right? So in our industry, it's more of dynamic personalization, I believe. We'll move beyond all these static catalogs to more dynamic content that adapts to individual customer preferences and based on their browsing history, making these materials more interactive and responsive, like their own digital counterparts. So if you go to some e-commerce channels, you look for some product, you will always already see the products that are much more lucrative for you with its own details that would be based on your history that you were looking for, something like that. So these are the places where we see it could leverage more.
I think how is AI going to change in your business? Like, is this
Okay.
going to be helpful for you to implement it?
Yeah, so the most significant change in the industry has been the massive, compression of all these production timelines that we talk about. Right now, we are also seeing a shift towards more data-driven decision making. AI tools are allowing the companies to analyze the customer engagement patterns across both the digital and print materials, which were earlier much more common, helping the clients understand which catalog layouts and which content styles drive the most conversions, right? So AI is enabling these kind of intelligent designs of their products based on its conversion to decide upon its spacing needs, its priorities, how it should be portrayed to the customers upfront, and so on. So the smart planning means that it is already closely aligned with the direct conversion for revenue for the business, right? So that is where the industry is leveraging this, I believe.
That's very impressive. So, can you just tell us a success story about AI in your organization? What made it work?
Right. Like I said, in our organization, we are in the inception stages right now. So it's something that where we are collecting information from our customers with different types of surveys and questionnaire from them to evaluate their needs. And what we have seen is the needs where the customers are asking for are more from their perspective, like from their workflow perspective, which basically means our tool is just an integration in their pipeline, in their workflow. Okay. Now they are expecting AI at all of their workflow stages where our product does not exist at the moment. But it opens doors for these kind of areas, which is where we are. I'm talking. I stated in the beginning that we are talking about generic solutions and custom solutions for customers, right? So if there are certain needs of customer which are specific in their own workflows where they want to automate, they want to know which products of mine are more relevant to be targeted for my planning. So these kind of things we can bring in some agentic AI there with some intelligence over there, which could help solve these kind of problems. So that is where the target right now, where we are moving into. But it is in the very beginning phases because the companies themselves are brewing up these thoughts. They are just bringing up the thoughts and not any direct requirements at the moment. Right. So it's a B2B product, so we are still analyzing. It's not a B2C where we can just directly, bring in all these things. Okay. Mhm.
Since you're just beginning into the AI, so you had faced so many challenges when it comes to using AI. Can you just tell us about how did you overcome that challenges to achieve usage of AI?
Right. I mean, most industries would face the challenges of associated costs, mainly in implementing these real-time AI versus its revenue for the business. Everything is more converting into cloud-based costs or GPU needs, LLM training needs, and these kind of challenges do exist. But we also face a similar challenge. However, besides this, there are other challenges too with AI adoption that our industry typically faces. For example, quality control is much more relevant here, right? So, especially with AI generated data sets or images where technical accuracy can impact the customer's purchasing decisions and the entire relevance many at times. So, if AI generated content is not of the right quality and it is not with the right detection and accuracy, then we will have to introduce a careful human verification approach, which brings in a new workflow complexity for the businesses, right? So these are definitely some of the more complex problems, but often in our niche area where we operate, different businesses have distinguished challenges and needs for AI, where we are looking at the space where to offer these kind of solutions for them. We also we also struggle with these kind of appropriate expectations to be set with the clients. For example, some customers hear AI and um, expect miracles at zero cost, while others are excessively skeptical about this because of its governance and privacy needs. So finding the balance in between these. This is quite the challenge we're facing, where we need to educate the client about what is possible and what is not, requires constant calibration. My standpoint.
So, what ethical issues should a company think about when it comes to using an AI?
What issues should they think? Is that what
Yeah,
you're asking?
yeah,
Yeah, like I said, it's few things we have to keep in mind when we work with AI. Definitely, the data governance. Are we compliant with the standards needed in whichever legal field you are in, right? Data privacy part. These are the most common things any company should look from the compliance standpoint. But when it comes to then the next state is about the data needs, right? So everything AI is nothing but data. At the end, you need to have your data aligned, readable, understandable by your AI system. So prepare your data beforehand, do the data science, and then you get into this space. So these are some challenges that the companies are already facing, and which is where they are now in the phase of converting these into actual documents and then making it ready for AI to use. So these are certain things they have to definitely consider before jumping into some preparing some AI teams or getting into some AI work. So it's essential to get started with the background work first and then move into the projects and solutions.
so that's very fantastic. In your opinion, is that a boom or threat for the youth? Like using AI is in a boom or threat for a youth?
Is it a boon or a threat for the industry?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say it is definitely a boon in the industry, but it also comes with its own caveats, right? So, like I said, AI, if you are competitive in the market already, if you have certain skills that are not repetitive, manual, that cannot be replaced with these kind of things, then yes, you can leverage all of this. But yes, it comes with a threat. Now, the industry also has these responsibilities of cultivating or converting these knowledge into the next level, where you can upskill people and move them into the next level for using them right, rather than replacing them, right? So it comes definitely with some threats in mind, but it also, on the positive side, if you see, this always remains with any big evolution that happens, right? So anything that is automation always comes with the risk of manual things
Yeah.
going off or fading off. So every time there would be this kind of question whether it's a boon or a threat. yes, but we need to think on the positive side. We need to focus on the boon, upskill ourselves, and keep ourselves in the momentum, right, in pace. If we have the right will, I don't think we can use those tools much more wisely for these needs and be much faster than we used to be earlier. Imagine the days when we did not have even Stack Overflow, let's say. So those days people used to hunt even for some smaller piece of code, and now look at them. And then that came that saved their days into hours, and then Google came that saved hours into I don't know, minutes maybe. And now AI. So that's how the journey is. It's always comes with evolution.
So, as if a small businesses are just starting with using AI, so how
Mhm.
can they use AI effectively?
Small businesses. Actually, small businesses can actually leverage AI without massive investments, because they can focus on some specific high impact areas that where they need to focus rather than a very broad implementation perspective, right? So, for example, small companies. Many small companies I've seen, D2C or B2C, these people start with some smaller automations, like maybe start with customer service automation, right? Implement AI chatbots or virtual assistants that can provide 24/7 customer support without scaling their staff. So even simple systems can handle routine inquiries and booking, freeing up team members for these kind of complex things, right? So AI can actually be effectively much more used for just the pain points, or just the need of the hour for any operational inefficiencies, for example. So it's easier to put it in a smaller companies, smaller businesses rather. For example, marketing is particularly much more accessible. AI tools can optimize your ad spends across platforms. Maybe it can create personalized email campaigns or analyze customer data to even identify the patterns of human marketers, right? Which human marketers might definitely miss if they do it manually. And all these things comes with much less implementation costs, if we think that way. So instead of hiring the whole marketing team for smaller businesses, they could go for these kind of tools which could save a lot of cost and effort for them. When we talk about small businesses, there are a lot of areas, even financial management brings much more easier record keeping these days. There are AI bookkeeping tools which can, if you start some small business and you're in a very beginning stage startup phase, AI bookkeeping tools can automate your invoices, categorizing your transactions, right? Even flagging some, if you're using cloud costs, it can also flag some unusual patterns, spending patterns. These kind of things are much more easier to integrate in smaller businesses because it's usually agile and it doesn't come with these legacy problems of bigger organizations to scale.
So, if someone who is just entering, like me, who have just started to build up his career using AI, so what advice you would give to a young people entering your industry about AI?
Yeah, for the young generation, right? Yeah. So basically, like I said, when we start with these things for the younger generation, the only thing they need to keep in mind is these professionals who develop these AI fluency alongside their traditional skills will definitely have greater leverage to create value, right? The threat is not AI itself, but rather anybody who is not upskilling themselves with AI and just being passive about these kind of skill developments, right? So see, it's interesting to see how AI is actually booming so much. Its capabilities are growing within such a short span of time. It has grown so much from just some generative AI to agentic AI, now going to more AGI kind of concepts, at least growing much more faster. So earlier, these things required quite specialized training, and now young people entering the workforce can punch above their weight class by checking all these AI tools effectively, right? But I have also seen these junior designers producing work comparable, much more comparable to these mid-career professionals by skillfully using these AI tools, which is because they are used to that. It comes alongside rather than the traditional experienced people who are now learning this. The young generation I had seen are leveraging this much more because it comes with the roots for them already, right? Now, the real challenging is actually helping these youth develop these kind of complementary skills that AI really cannot replicate. For example, these kind of critical thinking, ethical judgment, even some creative vision about things, better collaboration and communication. These things are human, values. These strengths cannot be replaced so easily. So that is where you will be augmented along with AI, right? You won't be replaced, and that thread that you were talking about can be evaded with these kind of things. So if you are a young student and then I believe this is what you need to be focused on. But on the positive side, when I met some students in webinars, I had seen the youth is not really scared of the AI. They are much more enthusiastic about
Yeah,
it, and they try
that's
to use much more freely and dynamically. Yeah.
So I hope you have given us a much more information today, and it helped me personally, and I feel our audience can have a connectivity with you. So it was a great connection talking to you, and I hope you have a good day today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Nandita.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Nandita. Have a good